in debt or something. You know, the Toyota Twin Cam E86, there's a lot of different variants of them. Now, when I was younger, when I was a kid, and if you saw a twin cam was a twin cam, and that was it. And then you learnt what an 84 spec and a UK spec was. It was on Revolutions or Superlights. That was it. That's the way I remember a twin cam. Not an A86, not a Sprinter, not 11, not a Booter, not a Trueno. It was a twin cam. Twin cam was its name. That was its name on its Irish passport. A twin cam, and that's it. That's all it was called. Now, I remember when I was back in the early 90s, my cousin, Shawnee, he came up to the farmer on about cattle. They were inside in the kitchen, they were on about cattle. I was out cutting weeds for the mother, and he drove in this black car. This is around 92 now, 93. This thing was 87. This car was 5 or 6 years old. So I dropped the strimmers, it was still running. I was walking around looking at this thing. I was young, I didn't know what a nice car was. This thing was mad. They were on about the price of cattle, Kilmallock Mart. And I was walking around this. All I saw was twin cam, 16 van, black, shiny York. Then I realised when he left what the car was. I went into town, I bought a magazine, read up all about him. And then 2 weeks later, he put a set of Superlights on that car. I saw it below in Kilfinnan. And you know what he done? He went clean through a roundabout above the rally in Galway and turned it clean upside down. Shawnee was mad. Wrecked the twin cam. Completely wrote it off. Anyways, it's a desperately nice day outside. Oh, my cousin Shawnee, after turning that twin cam upside down in the roundabout in Galway, I just could never get that out of my head. I loved that car. Now, the first time I sat in a twin cam after that was in England. Mick Murphy saw this wide-arched BMW E30 that he wanted so bad. And it was a bad-looking York. We were all talking about him behind his back inside in the bar, kind of half laughing. But it was our way of getting to England over to see this stupid car he was buying. But on the way over, we rang Smith. He had a twin cam, an 84 spec, a blue one. So we went over to, he had a small little shop going over close to a roundabout, a bit of a chop shop. So he brought us into this twin cam, drove it down the passage as hard as he could, blew every shock out of it, and then taught us to drive it back to Ireland. That was my first introduction to a bad twin cam. It wasn't that it was a bad twin cam. Smith. I remember I was in the back, I was holding on, and we just went down. My eyes were closed, all I could hear was tearing and grinding gears, and then I came back up again. I was ready to ring my mother. He came into 90 left. It was dark. It was a bad passage. It was narrow. What he actually done, he turned a good car. This was back in the early 2000s. Probably bought it for 400, came back to Ireland, sold it for 3 grand. A nice bit of profit. But this thing was hanging. You know, when I think back to that time, Julian Smith gave us that twin cam over in England. He drove down that passage before he gave it to us, and we had to drive home 800 or 900 miles onto a boat back home to Cork. He drove the living nuts out of that twin cam. He had every post, hole and rut, and all we were doing was laughing inside in it. And then Mike Dean, good friend of mine, he drove it home, and I wanted to drive it, but he wouldn't leave me drive it. No, when I think back to it, what was Mike Dean's problem that he wouldn't leave me drive it? Smith drove it down the passage like a complete nutcase. And then when I said, can I drive? He said, no. I'd have got it off the clock more, and I'd have got home faster. Murphy, I don't know what he bought that thing for. Jesus, it was the ugliest BMW then. Everybody was buying sports and nice ones, but of course Murphy, thinking he was smart, went away and bought a stupid looking York. You know, they were the good days. Mike Dean had that twin cam on the limiter all the way home, and Murphy was trying to keep up with us then. Every time we pulled into a garage, he was out admiring. Jesus, it was a bad joke. He was the only one that was admiring his own car. This was a bad joke. We got the ball home then. And then we were in Clonmel. What was it? We got reported anyway for blackening the place. He went down in and he painted it a bad colour. I must empty that bucket. Or else get a bigger one. No! After that, I think I bought a twin cam shell. I couldn't afford a one with an engine, a back axle, or an engine. I rang Smith. No, he's something seized. Smith was another gangster. But that was back then. The first proper twin cam that I ended up buying was a white over black, straight out of Japan. One owner twin cam. Where'd you get the money for that? Well, I'm going to tell you. And do you need to know? Yes, you need to know. I had a good year that year and the year after. I have a local dealer that I do business with all the time now. He's good for me and I'm good for him. He was able to supply me a product and bags of it to fatten my cattle. And I trusted him because he wore Jordans. I used to deal with another dealer, but he wore Charles Barkley's. And I didn't trust him because of that. Trust is a big thing with a drug dealer. And you know, my drug dealer had guns, knives, machetes, catapults, nunchucks, and if something happened, someone was going to die. But I trusted him. Because my dealer wore Jordans and his dust was good, the veins were popping out of my cattle, their eyes were bloodshot, and they were on the high hills to happiness. And so was my bank account when I killed them out. Eat up, lads! It's grand up here around these mountains. No one would be watching you. Another bucket of that now tomorrow. Was a seriously nice twin cam. It was a great way of undercovering feeding my cattle. Then I had an 84 spec and I drove the ring out of that. Come out of my way, oh shit! Make up your mind! What side of the road are you at? UK spec one with a 20 valve conversion under the hood. That thing was quick and I liked it.
Sweet sound of a 20 valve. Someday soon.
Now there is different variations of the A86. That's what I'm trying to tell you here today. In Ireland it's a twin cam, twin cam, twin cam, that's it. But there is different variations. So come on. Now, we take a look at this. So this is what I'm talking about. Different variants, different models. And in Ireland, we call this model the booter. Variant, version, model, and all that shit. The booter. And I like this version. I like it a lot. Now this booter is cool. I like the kit, drift style. It's low. Now if you had a hard night out with your friends and your buddies, you might come home without the back bumper, the left hand skirt and the front bumper. Now the 15x9 Watanabes are also nice. The Japanese have queer names for wheels and stuff. Like, what does Watanabe mean? This is basically a superlight. That's what I think it is. Under the bonnet of this boater is your typical 4AG twin cam 16 valve. And this thing is aggressive. With a set of carbs, trumpets, a manifold like a driven over field gate. This thing sounds nuts. And 2 twincams. Now, if I was a great artist and I was sent to Japan to paint the Great Wall of China on a canvas, I wouldn't be painting the Wall of China on a canvas. This is what I'd be painting on the canvas. And the Wall of China should be in Japan. I don't like China. Did I tell you it's got a double barrel shotgun out the back? Listen to that. Out the back, there's a welded TRD limited slip diff. Thing sounds sweet. Now, another thing I can never figure out about AE86s when they come in from Japan is all these oil gauges and water gauges. I mean, Toyota invested millions in a fuel gauge, an oil gauge, and a temperature gauge. Was it not good enough? And there's some things I do like the passenger seat. When you're feeling uncomfortable in the driver's seat, you can take a break and sit in the passenger seat. And this, you like this. A beer for the passenger and 2 beers for the driver. I like that. I like that. That is what you call thinking ahead. I like that idea. I'm up on top of the steering wheel. This stupid design of a bride seat. They did not go away. They should go away and start measuring some Europeans before they put these seats into design. A couple of lanky Americans. Them Australian, them New Zealand punks. Them Maoris. They need to start measuring Maoris when they design these seats. It's very simple. Something like that will definitely work. And everyone will fit in this bride seat. Including Lomo's cousins. Sort that shit out. My hip is killing me. You know what? And there's a bride seat inside in this one as well. Now this is another rendition of the AE86. Another model. And this one is a Trueno with a noticeably different type of front. As you can see, the bonnet slants down into pop-up lights. Again, the Japanese Watanabes are on it. Again, a super light. It's basically what it is. From the back to the front to the end of the door, this twin cam is the same as any other twin cam, except for the front. As you can see, it has a different front. Interior in this Trueno is much the same as any other AE86 version. Now, under the bonnet of this Trueno is a mad engine. When I say a mad engine under the bonnet, I'm not talking about a conversion. This has its original AE86 block, and this thing is properly built and properly quick. The more I like it. There's a lot to look at in this car that I break his head. Now out the front of this Trueno is a TRD lip, and out the back is a TRD back spoiler. And I like it.
What's he on about? That's a Trueno. Hey!
You know what I do like about this Trueno?
Hey! That's a Trueno, you muppet! Jimmy! 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 Jimmy!
What?
Jimmy! Jimmy!
What you say? What you say?
I said it's not a Trueno!
What? What you say?
It's not a Trueno! It's a Trueno, you muppet!
And what would you know? The Toyota Trueno.
Clint Eastwood! Do you know him?
Not personally, but I do like cowboys, movies, and Indians.
In 2008, Clint Eastwood released a film called Gran Torino. Did you see it?
You know, I did see that film. His neighbours were a pack of oranges, or mandarins. African Americans, there was white Americans. It was a mixed up neighbourhood. A kind of a dangerous place to be living. I wouldn't live there. I wouldn't live there.
You're right! I wouldn't live there! No, there was a very important car in that movie. Do you remember?
I remember. That Civic was a heap of shit.
Civic! It was a 1972 Ford Gran Torino!
Well, I never saw any Ford in that film.
It was the name of the film!
I know the car, but I don't like it. Big white stripe in it, red, and it's driving around the place. Starsky thinks he can drive. Husk is jumping in windows, and he doesn't bother even opening the door. All these dramatics. For what? Doesn't make any difference. I'm not going to jump into this car. I'd open the door if I want to get in. Can I get in?
No, you can't! And we're not talking about Starsky and Husky. It's Gran Torino!
And is that not a Gran Torino, the one I'm talking about?
Yes, it is, but it's different. It's a different model.
I know the car, 351 cubic V8 Cleveland under the hood. That car is iconic. And what's this got to do about what we're talking about here?
You're calling that a Trueno! Wait, it's a Trueno!
It's not a Trueno.
It's a twin cam Trueno!
Well, what's your point? What's the point of this conversation?
You're calling that a Trueno, which is a Trueno, and it's a Toyota!
What did you say there? What? Are you retarded?
How am I supposed to say this? The whole point of this conversation is that's a Trueno, not a Torino, you blockhead simpleton!
You know what? Wind up your windows and take this piece of shit out of my neighbourhood. I know what I have. Electric windows, isn't it?
Just as teas we're line. Pure line pitch.
In America, they call it a Trueno. The Trueno, the Trueno, and the Torino.
You swear he was his little young fella or something.
Piss off. Some people call it a Trueno, some call it a Trueno, and others call it a Torino. He's kind of right, you know.
What did you say?
I said a Trueno, not a Torino.
What did you say, John?
Are you deaf? Said in America they call it a Trueno.
What did you say, John?
Start listening. America they call it a Trueno, but we
What?
call it a Trueno.
Good man, John. I was just about to do something very
Drive on there now, lads. We'll make it look like a good finish. I'll get out and I'll get a shot of you going over the bridge. Wait there now 1 second. Record me there going over the bridge there now. Hold it there. 1 second now. And when you go to the bridge, give me back the phone.
I'll hand back the phone in.
Drive it on now, lad.